Greetings, my dear viewers. The Pyramid on Air. Subscribe to the channel and hit the like button to speed up the release of the next analytical video. The legend is back. Incredible, divine, pure pleasure. The titanic apotheosis of techno magic cuts the darkness. We have been waiting for this resurrection for a very long time. As many as 20 episodes. And please note, this is a whole 4-month wait. I thank the author for such a gift in November. After all, it is November that comes closest to this dark hero, personifying the deadly transformation of nature. Episode 67. Today deservedly takes one of the first places in my personal hit parade. Dafuk personally confirmed that episode 67 will have a part 4. This is very interesting because the third part ended with quite logical actions, and the presence of a fourth part is very intriguing and raises many questions. In this video, you will find out: is it true that a SKIBIDI scientist is a cyborg? Why did G-Man run away? What did the TV Titan actually say? Where is the plunger cameraman? What updates did Titan TV Man have, and what do Transformers have to do with it? Will the Alliance Titans survive? How is the short version different from the full versions of the video? You will find out this and much more if you watch the video to the very end. And first of all, I want to thank all my fans for their loyalty. Congratulations. We have gained 30,000 subscribers. I really appreciate each of you. But nevertheless, now many viewers are still watching me without a subscription. I would like to reach 100,000 subscribers with you by the new year. Therefore, be sure to subscribe to the channel so as not to miss the most interesting things. On this channel, you will discover the most unusual and mystical theories about your favorite universes. I assure you, you will not regret that you look at everything through the eye of the pyramid. Let's go. Already before the premiere of the episode, we were all shown a message on the screensaver where it was written, "You think you're winning?" It follows from this that the SKIBIDI duo will inevitably be defeated. So, the new 2-minute episode begins with a scene from the second part, after the scientist hit the plunger cameraman. The Titan cameraman attacked the scientist in rage, but at this moment the real G-Man appears. He attacks the Titan from the back, and the scientist takes advantage of the moment to snatch the protective filter of the main camera from the Titan. It was this filter that protected him from the techno magic of the deadly screens. Further, POV large cameraman puts on a protective lens, which most likely was given to him by a secret agent, and then SKIBIDI scientist unexpectedly activates the red techno magic screen hidden behind the column. The red light in TV technology is responsible for suicidal shock. In this state, the victim is plunged into the dimension of hell and tries to end his torment from the horror he saw there. If you remember, the Titan cameraman lost his arm after falling into a trap in episode 65, and then in the first part of episode 67, he snatched the saw from the SKIBIDI toilet with saws and inserted it into himself as a new weapon. Titan cameraman has fallen into a hellish trap and is trying in horror to saw off his main camera, calming his soul. And we suddenly see how, at the moment of the explosion, Titan Speaker Man rushes to his aid. At this moment, we understand that Dafuk, of course, he played with us because if you watch part 2 of the episode, you can see how an explosion occurs on the neck of a Titan and no one is nearby. In this case, the viewer begins to believe that the Titan will die. But already in part 3, we see that the hands of the Titan Speaker Man will already perform an act of help at the moment of the explosion. This is a small trick, but it has a big effect on the audience. By the way, Speaker Men don't have eyes, so the techno magic of screens has no effect on them. They navigate in space using non-optical imaging, using echolocation like bats. We have already seen how Toilet Jesus in episode 61 tried to blind the speaker woman, but he failed. Next we see that it was not an explosion of the neck, but an explosion of the side camera. Look closely at how the fire bursts out of the camera. Titan Speaker Man tries to pull the saw away from Titan Cameraman's neck, but the saw begins to touch his core. And the Titan Speaker Man jumps to the side. The Titan Cameraman, in turn, continues to saw himself. Then Speaker Man takes out his combat knife, which he usually hides in his boot, and using the knife as a lever, breaks the saw off the Titan's hand. We see the loyalty and bond of the Titans here. This is precisely their strength. Titan Cameraman, still under the influence of red screen techno magic, begins to destroy himself with what is left of him. He punches himself on the camera, but these blows are not enough to cause fatal damage. Then SKIBIDI scientist quickly turns on another type of techno magic. This time the glow is blue. As we know, the race of TV men has 5 main colors of screen glow. Red inclines to suicide, white plunges into a painful shock of chaos, orange burns to the ground, purple activates telekinesis, allowing you to move objects in the air, and the last, blue light, allows you to control the consciousness of the victim. In other words, blue techno-magic turns the victim into a controlled zombie. The evil scientist activates the blue light. Although the screen itself resembles a purple hue, we can definitely see that in the series there is blue and there is purple. Perhaps the author of the series decided to mix it all together. What do you think about the techno-magic color theory? Write in detail in the comments. Next, the Skibidi scientist seized control of the mind of the Titan cameraman. At that moment, Titan speakerman, in order to break the screen, tried to throw a knife using a sound wave, just like the woman speaker did in episode 61. But then, a sneaky one comes to the aid of the scientist. Did you notice that G-Man didn't attack all this time? Because he just liked watching the two Titans suffer. G-Man, and by firing his new powerful lasers at the Titan's core, he knocks out the knife from it and breaks off the right sound column. These new lasers are very powerful and can set the Alliance on fire. After all, they are powered by a new, powerful yellow core. What do you think? Write in the comments. Speakerman tries to attack back, but the scientist sends the zombified Titan cameraman at him, and Speakerman receives a heavy blow from his friend and, exploding, falls to the ground. Next, the cameraman fixes the Speakerman with his foot to finish him off, and the villains laugh vilely, enjoying the hell that the Titans of the Alliance are now experiencing. Unable to withstand such a terrible mockery of his friends, the large cameraman, who jumped onto the tank, takes out his thermonuclear bazookas and shoots at the scientist's screen. Respect for such a brave act. But why didn't he attack earlier? I think the reason is that he was very afraid of dying. But when the situation became critical, he still plucked up courage. But unfortunately, even such weapons cannot damage this hard screen. SKIBIDI scientist, noticing the enemy, casts his arrogant glance at him and disdainfully glares at him. Such pride and arrogance is always punishable as a grave sin. And then, at that very second, a black, ominous knife powerfully crashes into the screen with great speed. You might think that this is a Titan speakerman's knife, but this is 100% not his knife because the speaker at that moment was lying on the ground, defeated. The scientist looks at the knife and in horror remembers something familiar from episode 47. Is this really revenge? The magic of the screen disappeared and the Titan cameraman, waking up, collapsed to the ground, freeing Speakerman. And then a black tornado of retribution appears in the distance. Is this a teleport cloud? No, this is the funnel from the underworld itself. Debris are swirling around the black funnel, furious rumbles of thunder and lightning swarm inside, and now we hear the thunderous reverse voice of the Titan. He says the phrase, "Your life ends now." A very strong phrase that shocks opponents. At this moment, G-Man, hearing a familiar voice, understands that the fatal hour of retribution has come. He remembers what happened in episode 47 and clearly doesn't want to feel the punishing power of the Titan's techno-magic. This is exactly the leaks Dafouk showed us. G-Man turns on his new jet turbines and runs away in horror, just like he did in episode 57. At this moment, the scientist is left alone, just like he left G-Man for dead in episode 65. The scientist prepares for battle and activates his tentacles with rocket launchers. I think missiles are the only thing he has in his arsenal. Titan TV men, noticing the cowardly flight of the G-Man, utters the phrase, "Where are you going?" At this very moment, we see a huge glowing sword appear from the black teleport cloud. Pay attention, steam comes from it and lightning sparks of electricity. And here we have the long-awaited Titan TV man. He moves forward like a black tank. This is his signature gait, just like in episode 45 when he walked towards the speakerman. Not paying attention to the missiles crashing on his body like dust, By the way, those lightning bolts around him are very similar to God. Titan TV Man brazenly steps forward and with a powerful blow of a giant sword demolishes the right side of the scientist. The force of this blow even interfered with the POV cameramen. This is most likely due to electrical discharges in the new Titan's blade. With another powerful blow, the Titan demolishes the second part of the scientist. Now the weight of the tentacle is cut off. At the moment of the heli's chopping, the speakerman stood up a little and watched what was happening. At this moment, we can clearly see the black laminate huntsman knife sticking out of the scientist's screen. This is a clear reference to the game Counter-Strike 2. But in addition, we understand that this knife model best suits the legendary Titan. He then easily removes the scientist's front screen with just a flick of his sword. And at this moment, you can see an interesting symbol on the sword blade. But I'll tell you about this later. So like and watch the video until the very end. Next, Titan TV Man turns on all 8 screens. This magical red techno energy plunges the essence of the enemy into the depths of hell. The scientist experiences terrible overloads and shakes like a washing machine with a brick inside. But in the end, the scientist cannot kill himself because he does not have a weapon, and it is also possible because he is a robot, and the robot's consciousness cannot go to another dimension. Next, the Titan pronounces the phrase, "Still alive?" He realizes that the scientist is a clone and delivers a fatal blow with his blade, but even such critical damage does not calm the scientist's clone. Look at the wires in his head. It is difficult to kill such a robot in the usual way. Then the Titan activates its new core, showing us it in all its glory. Electric particles are circling around the nucleus. Look what a powerful beam bursts out from the core of the TV Titan. If you compare it with the plasma fire of the Titan cameraman or the beam of the Titan speakerman, then it is clearly much superior to them. And I think that now we see the core not working at full strength. Next, a powerful beam brutally burns all the mechanisms inside the clone, and the system finally stops working. The amazed clone of the scientist bursts into flames, and the TV man Titan returns to a calm state. By saying the phrase "that's all," he activates his legendary emoji smile on his 4 screens. Which we first saw in episode 41. Give a like if you also remember his first emoji. This is a truly unique and controversial character. Let me remind you what state Titan TV Man was in episode 47. Almost all of his devices were disconnected from him, except for the claw attachment on his back, the core, and the cat knife on his left forearm. His screen was fatally damaged, and now let's see what updates he received in the secret laboratory during these 4 long months. We have 8 battle screens, 5 on head, 2 on the shoulders, and 1 small screen on the belt. The screens on the head can be moved apart to provide a wider blast radius. Titan mainly uses the light of red techno magic, but it is possible to assume that he also uses other types of lights and technologies. Mini screen on the belt, secured to the legs with special straps. The Titan's clothes and body are super durable to the point that even missiles cannot damage it. Next, we have heavy leather pants with purple stripes, protective knee plates secured with straps, fighting ribs on the knees, high boots with zippers, rough leather gloves with strong seams, combat ribs on gloves, heavy leather coat, new, larger jet turbine. The little purple light on the turbine is on. And of course, our favorites, dangerous and powerful hook-shaped claws behind the shoulders on both sides with signature glowing stripes. Unreal beauty. Next, we have new core, now much more powerful than the old one. The core is protected by 6 claws that open when the core is activated. The metal of the core structure has a yellowish tint, the same as on the shoulder claws behind the back. The core is capable of generating a huge concentrate of energy and powering all parts of Titan. The core also has the ability to shoot a purple energy beam. This is the strongest core in the series so far, and it reminds me very much of the matrix of leaders from the Transformers universe. Next, there are also additional spikes on the Titan's body that provide protection. combat ribs on the shoulders on which additional screens are attached, as well as a system of protective spikes on the Titan's head. Well, let me remind you that now the TV Titan throws knives. This is a clear reference to the game Counter-Strike 2, but in addition, we understand that this model of the Huntsman knife black laminate suits the legendary Titan as best as possible. It is not yet clear how many of these knives he has. He used to have hooks on chains, but now he has a black hunting knife. This detail makes him very similar to the race of speakermen, who are the best experts in knife fighting. In addition, the hunting knife hints that Titan TV Man is hunting for its offenders. And of course, a new retractable blade is attached to the Titan's right forearm. This sword belongs to the Transformers universe. It can be seen that it has a high temperature and steam is coming from it. A hot blade allows you to cut metal like butter. In addition, all parts of Titan are provided with discharges of electric lightning from the core, including the sword, which allows them to inflict heavy damage on both electronics and biological beings. During the battle, the sword moves forward along special guides, ensuring effective operation at long distances. The wide part of the blade bears the ancient Cybertronian glyph. This symbol is a glyph of Cybertronian language. Oh yeah, how lovely! This Easter egg belongs to the Transformers universe. I always recognize this blade shape. This is the Energon sword. If you didn't know, this model is the Optimus Prime retractable blades, and there is a symbol on its blade. On Cybertronian language, this glyph stands for the letter U, which most likely translates to unity. What do you think about this? Write your theories in the comments. Well, bravo! My admiration for the talents of the TV scientist. He really is a genius. And perhaps the rest of the Titans of the Alliance will receive very worthy updates. Fine. Let's finish exploring the magnificent details of the TV Titan for today, and let's move on to the theories section. In the description of the video on the Dayfook channel, we see an interesting phrase, everyone has their weakness. The author of the series once again wants to remind us that everyone has their own weaknesses, and if you plunged into the abyss of arrogance, then life will definitely remind you where your weak point is. Also, in difficult times, you shouldn't blame yourself for mistakes, because these mistakes are based on your weaknesses. You need to try to accept them and try to find help on the side. But who is this message addressed to? Alliance or SKIBIDI toilets? The weakness of Titan TV Man is that he almost always acts alone. If you remember, that's why he was defeated in the 47th episode. The weakness of the Titan cameraman is that it is subject to light techno magic. The weakness of the Titan Speaker Man is that if its mobility is limited, it will be easy to defeat it. The weakness of the G-Man toilet is his cowardice. The weakness of the SKIBIDI scientist is his evil pride. And so one of the main questions that interests us is whether the SKIBIDI scientist is really real or is it a copy of him. Analyzing the 65th episode, we have already realized that there are robot doubles that are used to deceive. In addition, we noticed on the small cannon of the scientist's SKIBIDI, the number 2 is written. Most likely this is the serial number of the copy. Thus, we can assume that SKIBIDI scientists currently have 2 copies, but perhaps this number is much higher. We can also imagine a theory where there will be not 2 or 3 such clones, but 1,000 or even several thousand. It's even hard to imagine what kind of battle might unfold then. Another theory says that the eyes of SKIBIDI toilets turn red in moments of rage and aggression. But as we were able to see, the scientist's boiling red eyes remained with him throughout the entire spectrum of emotions. When he was scared, his eyes also remained red. This is another sign indicating that it was a clone of a scientist. And by the way, couldn't the scientist escape using a teleport? I think that the entrance to the SKIBIDI base is very important and he needs to protect it. Or maybe he just received an order from his master? I wonder where the robot got so many emotions. Most likely this is some new neurotechnology with the help of which a cyberclone is produced. And he is not entirely aware of himself. It seems to him that he exists on his own, but in reality he is influenced by the owner, and this owner connects to it absolutely unnoticed. Well, where is the real SKIBIDI scientist at the moment? I guess that he is located deep in the Citadel somewhere underground, and from there he remotely controls his robots. And here's another important question. Where did the cyberclone SKIBIDI scientist get the technology of red techno magic? There is a possibility, as I said earlier, that a TV scientist is involved in this, but we can also assume the theory that all variations of techno-magic were contained in those spare parts that SKIBIDI toilets received in the 47th episode. That is, it is possible that the cut-off Titan parts contained neurocybergenetic encodings of the necessary technologies. Having obtained this SKIBIDI data, the scientist was able to reproduce it in his laboratory, just like he reproduced teleportation technology. Well, there is another theory by which we can assume that the SKIBIDI technology was transferred to the scientist by a secret agent, because he is the one who has access to everything in this universe. What do you think about this? Write your theories in the comments. Another important question that worries my viewers is, when will all three Titans unite together? I think this will not happen soon, because it will take a lot of time to restore the two Titans. Therefore, most likely we will not see this trio for the next 10 or maybe 20 episodes. Why did the author of the series need a fourth part? This is most likely due to the fact that episode 67 takes place right outside the gates of the main SKIBIDI toilet base. And just like that, without protection, they will not be able to leave their base. This means that most likely the SKIBIDI toilet confrontation will return literally at this very moment. As for the G-Man, I think that after all, in this part of the episode he is real, because he got scared and, succumbing to his emotions, quickly fled from the battlefield. But perhaps he knew that the SKIBIDI scientist was a clone, and at that very second he ran for help to return in a stronger force and continue to defend the SKIBIDI base. The most interesting thing is who will return to help. According to one theory, he will ask the Astro Toilets for help, and I'm sure they have their own big boss, which in turn can most likely cope with the Titan TV man. What about the Titans? I think that Alliance help will arrive now, and they will be taken to the TV scientist's laboratory. Perhaps the laboratories will unite, and the result of the updates will be stunning. I suspect that the absence of the Titans will be significantly long, because the damage that was inflicted on them is very severe and will take a long time to recover. In addition to all this, we also have a stricken plunger cameraman. I am sure that it will also be delivered to the laboratory, and his scientist friend will definitely do a very good job on it. Maybe we'll see an even better update. What do you think the main camera plunger will be like this time? Or maybe he died completely? Write your theories in the comments. I think that, with a high probability, the SKIBIDI toilet will return to defend its base with the help of an Astro toilet, and our Titan TV will be helped to cope with the enemy by a team of Alliance heroes. A million theories are being born, but so far we can only say with certainty that the fourth part will be super grandiose and very important. By the way, I waited for the short versions of the episode to release this analysis. There is a signature. Titan TV Man has returned, and we can also notice that there is different music. In some places, shortened animation and other voice acting. I have prepared a detailed comparison for you so that you can evaluate everything yourself. If you remember my last analysis, then there I talked about the connection between the episode and the fate of the author of the series. He subconsciously draws events from his life, and this time, the hard fight against hackers ended in success. Titan TV Man in this case represents community support and new interaction in the Twitter zone. As a result, all hacker attacks were defeated. The threats have stopped, and the series will continue its wonderful existence. Do you want the most stunning and detailed analysis of Titan TV Man? Then like and subscribe to me. All links to my channels will be in the description of this video. I thank you again for staying with me. See you in the next videos. May the power of the pyramid be with you. Good luck.